face-offs, you're getting into a little bit of a different space. You know, as was kind of pointed out on stage, a segment that is traditionally served either by bringing in something that's way too big and way too featured for the target small business market, and I think the more predominant market is they go and pick up a copy of whatever off the retail shelf. Do you have the channel base now to serve that? That sort of massive number of very small businesses, especially in a country like Canada, where very small businesses, as defined by the U.S., is sort of the predominant business.
Yeah, actually, you heard those numbers from Matt yesterday with the millions of small businesses and sub 50, sub 10. It's enormous out there, right? So that's a great question. And do we have that magic right now channel that you can kind of throw things at it and it's just going to churn? I think it's developing. It's tough for anyone to figure out how do you service a market that they have very little expertise, very little awareness of what they do or they don't have, because the struggles we as all vendors have is that taking care of a really small customer can be more expensive than taking care of a bigger one that has IT staffs and they have the infrastructure and they kind of are more self-service. So with that being said, the first thing is the product. And as a sales guy, I usually go to the product last and talk about the product last. But this product is unique because it is such a good fit for this market. It's really easy to use and it's very, very functional. So we feel real good about the product, and so the complexity is not there. That's going to add a lot of cost to this. That's number one. The channels that service this, we've got Tiger Direct that we have a budding relationship on. Those guys, they really serve a much smaller downstream market than, say, a CDW or an Insight, or certainly some of our regional VARs, right? This is an excellent product for those teams that have a dedicated group of folks that just care about sub 50 nodes. Again, a regional VAR is going to be kind of tough for them. They really don't want that business. I mean, you sell something to somebody for a few $100s, and there's no margin in it for you to do that. So they'll easily say, that's not what we want. We need to go after that corporate customer. And so I think we're going to focus there on this. Not to say that I do believe that a lot of folks, because it is such an easy product, they will be servicing some of this. So not done yet, but we do feel good about some of the vehicles that will get the product out through very quickly.
The one of the more frequent go-to-markets for that kind of product is the Tiger Direct, as well as that local, especially in smaller communities.
Yes.
We'll call it a mom-and-pop shop reseller, for want of a better term. Is that community on your map, or are you sort of looking at serving it primarily through the Tiger Directs and the other small business-focused retail type guys?
Certainly, they are there, and I think I just showed a slide where we have in North America, we have about 1,800 resellers, but we have, in partners, we have less than 100 partners, right? But there's 1,700 other resellers out there that are reselling the product, kind of more as convenience, and I think a lot of them are kind of mom and pop shops, right? So when the company really puts more focus on air cover and getting our brand out there, I do see those guys kind of picking up the product, not necessarily making a focus of their business, but saying, that's a good product, I can service that. And how we're going to manage them will be through our distribution partners, right? And this is where having really strong and good distribution partners, with Cenex up in Canada, Tech Data Canada, these guys are equipped to help them, right? Because it's more transactional and convenience and a way of doing business. So that's how we'll scale that piece. It doesn't mean I'm going to go and do business planning and massive investments in these guys. but that is how you find the next, great reseller as well, right? Is through that piece. But I do see distribution being key on servicing that piece.
Anything else you think you have to do to get more of that, that 1,700 group that's not a really close partner into a more engaged and more active Kaspersky partner?
There is our one-to-many tools, right? And that's a strategy that has to become more effective because it's more identifying, like diamonds in the rough for us. There'll always be this, we do have open distribution on the product, right? So there will always be, somebody wants Kaspersky, I called up my distribution folks, they're going to help me walk me through this process, and I can go buy it. The benefits of joining the program and being able to do things like deal registration and make extra dollars and getting from us, more resources, if this is going to be a valid business, is important to us. And I'll use distribution for this piece to, I'll look at what they're doing and how they're trending to find those folks that then we need to go proactively and engage, because they keep showing up with little to no effort on our part. Those are the guys that, I'm going to go talk to and go work. And so I'll use distribution for a lot of that. Like anyone else, I'd love for, 1,700 of them to, buy that extra, solution from us, or, hey, if they bought one, can they buy three, that kind of thing. But I think a lot of the branding and, the people calling in will be doing that, and experience with the product. My big thing is, how do I identify who's doing what in that 1,700, and who would I bring up, right? Because to kind of use the sports analogy, that's kind of like the farm league, and then there could be some major superstars down there that we're not talking to.
Great. And I wanted to touch a little bit on the managed services play that's coming up. That was something that was mentioned last year at this conference, sort of in a preview, watch this space kind of way, and I think generated a fair bit of buzz and interest even at that point. A year later, I can only imagine that's been amplified as more and more partners add managed service to the mix. What's sort of the timeline for getting it out there, and what's the plan to engage the partner base? And I would say to educate, but are we even at the point where partners need to be educated about managed services right now?
I think so. Certain partners. It's funny because I went on a little roadshow right before this with some of my partners and talked to them about their business. This managed service offering is perfect for really that business that we were just talking about. That small, medium-sized business that partners now. It's kind of they're seeing this as, I'm going to take this burden away from my customer. Either I'll host it myself, or maybe I'll put it out there in the cloud, but I will manage all of their malware and AV, right? E.S. Williams, so I'm not sure if you talked to Andrew yet, but I definitely would, talk to Andy and see what he's done and how he sees this solution, because it's not necessarily just the solution of taking it off and saying, I'm going to save you money, Mr. Customer. It's, I'm now going to be able to tell you things that you didn't know before. I can talk to you about usage and threats and vulnerabilities. I mean, so if you're that, you got 50 nodes, 100 nodes, and you don't necessarily have a chief security officer, which we all know that these small, medium-sized companies, they may have a couple of IT guys running around, but they don't have that. Our partners will be able to be that for them now, and I think there's a lot of excitement around this, and I think that in certain markets it's going to take off faster. And I was mentioning, I just did this little roadshow. I talked to 6 partners. 4 of them, to your point, they have a managed service offering play, and they're extremely interested in this. So our challenge here is, again, got to raise the technical IQ a little bit, because, they're going to be working with these customers now. They're going to be the tech support. They're going to be the IT security expert for these companies. So we're going to have to think about how we get them to a level where they feel very, very comfortable and they're servicing the customer correctly. So that's going to be job one. We're thinking about, how we roll this out now to do that. And so it will be with a small, select group of partners in the beginning. Again, the guys on our Partner Advisory Council, they've all raised their hands. So we'll say probably start with them and a few others that have established managed service offerings. Go to them, get that up and running, see how then we scale it in a controlled fashion, where we don't get too out of hand, we just don't throw it out there. But we see this as great reoccurring revenue for the partners, margin enhancement, and probably more important for the partners is that they become the trusted advisor around security for their end user customer as a result.
Okay. This kind of managed services dashboard is something that some of your competitors have been doing for a while to varying degrees of integration and success, let's say. What's sort of your differentiator in the space, and what do you guys have to do to make sure that as a newer product in the market, in that managed services market, you're getting attention versus those who have been in place for a while?
Sure. So I think one of the reasons why we talked about it last year, and we're still talking about it this year, and it's kind of a slow roll, is we want to be extremely careful about making sure that it works the way that we need it to. So we don't want any false starts. So it's been under development, and we're figuring this out. So the first thing is the quality has absolutely got to be there. And we feel that we do have that. Secondly, I think what's going to differentiate us always is the way that you work with a partner to roll it out, right? Again, if you kind of go and you make this public statement that, hey, we've got this service provider edition, and we throw it out to the world and we try to make it important to everyone, it's just not going to work. And then it takes away from the folks who really do want to do something with it, because I'm spread too thin. So the way that we roll this, I think, will differentiate us as well. So the folks that start working with us will see a faster return, quicker than they would with other solutions, and they'll get more time and attention from us. So I think that's the biggest differentiator. Again, a lot of this is it's not wildly new ideas. It's really basic blocking and tackling, and kind of looking in the mirror and saying what really are we looking at here, right? I know we want to be this, or I know we want to do these, but let's keep it focused to what we really have and the opportunity in front of us, and set realistic goals. So I think that's going to be a differentiator for us.
Okay. What's the timeline for it kind of going public?
Yeah, so we're ending up the beta now. We're looking at, we've got some work to do on the pricing and the licensing model, the subscription model. We're working through that. We're talking again. We don't want to reinvent the wheel. We want to use our distribution partners for this. We want to make it timely and effective, cost effective for the partners and for the customers. So we're most likely, if we can deliver something in that end of March, April timeframe, I think we'll be real happy.
Great. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.